Woo-wee. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are now officially underway here on the Paranormal Portal. It's our Wednesday edition, and no math involved in that edition. Hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for spending part of your week here with me. And I'm not alone, so you're spending it with us, because I am joined, of course, by my good friend and co-host, the Big Toe himself, Mr. Don Longbeard. How you doing, Don? You were just awake a second ago. I'm not buying it.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't sleep well last night, and then I had to work all day, and then, well, you know how work is.
Yeah, I know how your sleeping is too.
Yeah, that's true.
You rarely sleep well.
Yeah, it's not something I do.
Not real well.
Not real well, yeah. It's not exactly my strong suit.
That's okay.
Yep.
But we got a full show ahead of you.
Yep.
We are going to be doing the news, of course. We're going to do the Discord question of the week. We're going to get into some more of the glitches in the Matrix, and then we're going to have some Cryptid Corner to round it out. If you didn't catch last Saturday's show, oh my God, did you miss it? But don't worry, if you can't rewatch the whole thing, like your time is too precious, I put together a video compilation of it. And
of course their time is precious.
Well, too precious.
But he got you a shortened copy of it, so you can
catch up on some of the highlights. Yeah, there's some it was some spectacular investigating. We were doing it right here in the studio, as you know, on Saturday nights. We do that, and it was just I couldn't believe it. I was really stunned. It's about the most activity. It's right up there with the most activity I've ever experienced doing investigating. And it was right here in the studio. My God,
Right here in my chair.
Yeah, well, that's maybe why.
That's why it doesn't feel like my butt's fitting correctly. You had somebody else sitting in my chair.
Yeah, you never know, Don.
That's true.
You never know. But it was a great time, and hope you guys check it out. If you haven't, it's called What You Missed. It says July 15th, 2023. Shocking paranormal activity.
Oh my!
I'm trying on those titles to see if I can
those
drum up.
Words.
I should have used demon. I probably should have used the word demon, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because, well, I've got ethics.
Right.
But it was shocking. I was shocked, and I think a lot of you that were here were shocked too. So if you get a chance, check it out, and feel free to share it around and let everybody know.
Mom says, I watched What You Missed on Saturday night. It was spectacular.
Right, yeah.
So now you all know what you missed on Saturday night, because it was spectacular.
It really was. And
Can we say spooktacular?
Maybe it should be spooktacular.
Who knows?
But I'll tell you what, it was absolutely exciting. It makes me feel like maybe I should just change this to Investigation Channel. Don, you can Skype in once in a while. Nah, it just wouldn't be the same if all we did was investigating. We have investigation videos coming, so I'm working on them every chance that I get, which unfortunately the last couple of weeks isn't much, but I'm doing the best I can just to keep up, because there's a lot of hats to wear in all this. We are going to be getting to the news, I think, Don. What do you think?
The news?
The news. Are you ready for the news?
I don't have a new joke.
No? Well.
Oh, wait. No, I can't tell that one.
Yeah, nothing that'll get us demonetized here.
No,
so
I can't tell that one either then.
Okay, well, I wish I had one to tell, but I don't think I did.
I don't have any I could tell.
I never remember jokes. That's my problem. It's like I only remember seriously like a handful of jokes in my entire life, and most of those I can't say on the air either.
Sweet. In that case, what do 15-year-olds and washing machines have in common?
All right, let's get to the news.
I thought you said you couldn't remember a handful.
I don't remember that one, but I don't think I want to either. And welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, as we dive into the Paranormal Portal News.
And I'm changing my name to Hedgehog.
Sure.
Because that's porn music.
All right, so let's get into the news. I'm not sure what the hell that means, but
Somebody will know what I mean.
I got nothing. I don't know where you're going with all that.
Where does a penguin keep its money?
I don't know.
I don't either. I'm waiting for Justin to tell us.
Oh, we're being spoon-fed jokes now. Yeah, just give us a punchline so Don can be funny.
In a snowbank.
Oh, nice.
Snowbank. Oh, gosh.
Nice, clever. Well played.
All right, there you go.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. All right, so we have the news to get to, and the first article that I've curated for your behalf for tonight's show. I got a bunch of them, but we'll only go through a handful of them here. I like the more abbreviated news, don't you, Don?
You mean like the super brief?
Yeah, not super
Like
brief,
a
but
Speedo?
just Don. Shorten news. Let's not corrupt this whole thing, huh? All right. I don't want to picture Speedos. That's just. Ugh. All right. First up on our news fest for tonight comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please support the site. It's a great site. They do amazing stuff over there. So they are bringing us the first article, and that is first contact with aliens could end badly if we don't learn from history.
You think?
I'm not sure what history they're talking about here. Just what?
Well.
All right, let's see what it says. I don't even know where we're going with this. We're not going very far. This is a huge article.
It's not that bad.
Are you serious? I'm not going to read all this.
All right.
All right, we assume that aliens could be peaceful, but what if we contacted a civilization that wanted to colonize Earth? Well, there you go. Learn from history. Don't invite bad neighbors. Yeah, I suppose it's like having a buffet and inviting all the fat people.
Right.
I'm fat.
That's why I never get invitations.
Me either. I'm never invited to buffets. That's about as much as I'm gonna read, because I mean, yeah, I understand. Here's the other thing, though. I think that if let's say there are alien civilizations, and I believe there is. I mean, so that goes without saying. But don't you think if they're possibly a million years advanced to us or thousands of years advanced, then also that might come with a social advancement as well? I mean, it might be saying a lot, but wouldn't you think that at some point they would have figured out, hey, let's not be dicks, let's be happy and friendly and help. I would hope so. So I think if you I don't know if you could say the odds are probably with them being benevolent and kind, but I don't know. I mean, if they weren't, would they have made it a million years to our advancement if they were just a corrupt, evil, horrible race?
I could see it.
You could?
I could see it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I kind of think that no, they probably would have consumed themselves, but maybe not. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Unless they think that we're like a virus and need to be purged or something.
Oh, well, that would be the Matrix.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the same thing, right? So what if they're so advanced they see us as a cancer and they're like, this will be a great place without you guys. That could be too.
Gosh, we've decided that.
Well, anyway. So I think in lieu of reading this entire compendium, I'm just going to surmise it with, let's hope they're nice and move on. All right, let's go to the next article because that was huge. I didn't obviously proof any of these, so I'm just pulling them up as I saw the headlines. I was like, oh, this looks good. This looks good. All right, here comes the next one.
What?
Oh, no.
Some of these headlines are just unbelievable.
This is from the Science and Technology, but I don't know. Is this not too long? This one's good. From unexplained-mysteries.com, scientist claims to have performed brain surgery on himself at home.
Right.
Even he couldn't afford the health care.
Well, yeah.
Oh, my God. What does this say? It says Michael Raduga reportedly lost a significant amount of blood while undertaking a 10-hour procedure on his own head.
No.
Raduga, who maintains that he has no neurosurgery qualifications whatsoever, performed the procedure in an effort to implant an electrode he designed to help him control his dreams.
Oh.
What? This guy, if he has a license to practice anything, that should be taken away. He can only practice with crayons now after his surgery. He told reporters that he used paper clips to hold his scalp in place and a drill bought at a hardware store to open a hole in his skull so that he could implant the electrode in his brain. During the last 30 minutes, I was ready to give up many times because, first of all, I lost
You think?
a lot of blood. No. Approximately a liter of blood, he said, and I was afraid I could just lose consciousness. He was seemingly motivated by his desire to help other people experience lucid dreams. Yeah, I don't think people are going to be signing up for his surgeries, but
Nope.
It says, for many people, controlling dreams will be some sort of entertainment, he told the Daily Mail. Now imagine a paralyzed person who cannot experience anything in this life, and now we find a way to help him get into lucid dreams where anything is possible. Even though the procedure appeared to be successful, Raduga is not out of the woods yet because it's unclear what sort of lasting damage he may have inflicted on himself. Suffice to say, don't try this at home.
Oh, my God.
Don.
10 hours. Are you kidding me?
What kind of patience does this guy have?
Apparently, he doesn't have a license, so he shouldn't have any patience.
Yeah, well, he has one himself.
Himself.
Yeah, well,
That's ridiculous.
I just don't understand.
And how it took him 10 hours to drill a hole in his head?
No, that's just how long he was working in his own head.
But how can you possibly do that?
I don't know.
Because, I accidentally poked this wrong spot and I just went limp. And now I'm limp.
It's like,
Yeah,
shoot.
And nothing works now.
I'm down to one arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just all kinds. That's a bucket of stupid right there, folks. I don't think that. What else can you say? This guy's an idiot. I wonder if he's dreaming lucidly now.
Right? Yeah, he was lucid dreaming.
What did he install to make himself lucid dream? It's like, what did he do? I'm so done with the stupid in this article. I think we're going to move on to the next one. There's got to be more stupid than that. But
So you're intentionally looking for more stupid.
well, I just think we're going to stumble into it because we're on a bad roll here. We got alien invaders and a guy drilling his own head doing surgery. So next up from unexplained-mysteries.com is another article, and this one is having to do with the legislature and their desire to discuss UFOs. Because legislators to discuss the UFO phenomena at meeting on July 26th, they're going to discuss it. Probably more taxpayers' money is going to go into that somewhere.
Yep.
Welcome to the $800 Hammer Club.
Yep.
The House Oversight Committee is reportedly planning to meet to discuss the topic of UFOs next week. UFOs are currently a hot topic not only in the media but also in government circles, with numerous officials from both sides of the political spectrum coming forward to comment on the phenomena in recent months. Now it appears as though another official meeting is planned for July 26th, this time headed up by the Republican Representative Anna Paulina Luna of Florida and Tim Burchett of Tennessee. We're done with the cover-ups, Burchett tweeted earlier this week, before telling reporters, we're going to have professionals in here and we're getting blowback from some sort of alphabet agencies. I'm sick of government that does not trust the people. Not everyone is as enthusiastic about the meeting, however, with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy being somewhat dismissive when queried by the press. I think if we had found a UFO, the Department of Defense would tell us.
No.
Come on, Kevin McCarthy.
God.
What the hell? Would tell us because they would probably want to request more money, he said. Now, that's why they have subcontractors.
Well, yeah, and yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. I think Kevin McCarthy's not really on the right page here, but what do I know? Anyway, there you go. More of your money at work, folks. And by God, maybe they'll find some answers. Yeah, right. All right. It's just another exercise in spending money. Next up, this one's a Bigfoot's report, apparently. Because somebody apparently was flying a drone and caught something they figure might just be a Bigfoot, Don.
Wow.
Well, let's see if they're right, because according to unexplained-mysteries.com, drone footage shows alleged Bigfoot walking through a snowy forest.
Oh.
That kind of looks like a Bigfoot, really, from the top down, right?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you got the two arms, you got the furry middle, and
so why didn't they like pilot it down so they could get a better look?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. A piece of footage that has been doing the rounds on TikTok, which is where I go for all my Bigfoot news.
Right.
Shows a bipedal ape-like creature trudging through the snow. The video, which was originally uploaded 7 months ago by Ken's Carpentry, Ken's Carpentry, no kidding, on YouTube, recently enjoyed a new lease on life after it was posted up on social media video sharing site TikTok. The footage itself, which was presumably filmed in northeastern Vermont, shows a recording from a drone flying low over the trees of a snowy forest. At around 2:20 of the video, a humanoid figure covered in brown hair suddenly comes into view. Over the next few seconds, the drone operator can be heard expressing surprise at the discovery while the drone moves to follow the creature as it walks onward through the snowy trees. Since gaining attention on social media, the footage has been met with understandable degree of skepticism, with many users maintaining it was simply a prank involving someone wearing a suit. Sure enough, the movement of the alleged Bigfoot is distinctly human-like. You can check out the clip for yourself below. What do you think? Well, let's check it out.
Let's check it out.
Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or bear, not real.
Not a bear.
I don't know what channel this is from, but let's check it out. Hope it doesn't have music.
All right. So I wanted to just show you a road.
Okay. Well, let's just get through this part where this guy's showing us a road. And let's get to the footage. I wonder if that's
Ken.
Ken who?
Ken's Carpentry.
Oh, is that Ken's Carpentry? Maybe. Maybe it is. All right. Here it looks like we got the video. Can hear the humming of that drone. Right, Don?
Yep.
Nice little foresty place. Kind of makes you wonder what was he doing? Just flying this over the forest? Was he looking for some B-roll for something? It's for my new music video.
10,000 dead trees.
A carpenter's life.
What? Carpenter's wife.
What the world?
Flat as a board.
Oh, there it is.
What is that?
And he's chocolate.
Oh, that's incredible.
Is it, Ken?
What?
What indeed? That's some real quality piloting there.
Oh, there you go.
Where did the big feet go? He's just going to rotate it in one spot.
No way.
Exactly.
Are you serious?
We don't know yet.
What?
Well, there it is, Ken. Lower that drone, dude.
What is that?
Why does it sound like he's talking to a baby? What is that?
It is really melodramatic, though, isn't it? I mean, like his voice doesn't sound like he's a good actor. Like, he's not going to pull any Oscars for this one, Don.
No doubt.
I mean, if I saw that...
You know, this reminds me of a video game.
Is this where you drop the grenades?
Yeah, exactly. Watch something just kind of walk along. I don't know. Chucky says it's a bad gate.
Yep, I would agree.
Yeah.
It is a very lunky gate, not at all graceful, like what you would expect. Sure ain't no Patty, but I think that's about all we're gonna get, unless Ken's gonna fly this.
Well, no, it's got to be. No, it's got to get closer unless he zooms in on it, because he was pretty.
Doesn't look like he knows where it is now.
Well, see, that might be the problem. Maybe he does know where it is. It's just the other guy doesn't know to step out in the suit yet.
Maybe they missed their cues.
Yeah.
Phil, when you see the tape, stop there. It's like cue marks on the snow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sold on this, Don. What are you thinking?
Nah. I think it's interesting, but I don't think it's... Yeah, no, I don't think it's what we're looking for.
I don't either, but there you go, folks. There's the drone footage for what it's worth. believe it or not, that's the story he's sticking to apparently.
Chucky
And-
says Sasquatch is already back in the truck.
He's dumping the snow out of his oversized feet.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's not a Sasquatch. That's a Sam Squatch.
Yeah, could be a Sam Squanch. Very interesting. I don't think it's legit personally. I think the guy is way too falsely surprised. Like he doesn't even have a real excitement in his voice.
Right?
It's like, oh my God, I mean, I'd be cussing if it was me.
Oh, shit, what was that?
Or you could really cuss. But yeah, it's like, wouldn't you have more emotion in your, whoa, what's that? Wow, what is that? That's weird. I mean, I don't know if anybody could look at this and go, well, I don't know what that is. Of course it's supposed to be a Bigfoot, but I just don't believe the surprise in his voice is very legitimate. So for me, I'm not on board. Don?
No, I kind of agree with Justin Info. Says if I caught one, I'd drop the drone right on it. Oh yeah,
No kidding.
Damn right.
Get that footage. Yeah, absolutely. Just come right up in front of it. You might as well. I mean, it smacks a drone. You might lose $300, but you might be sitting on the greatest footage ever
A gold mine.
of a Sasquatch. I mean,
Right.
it's worth the trade, I think.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. Why didn't, if you really thought he had a Bigfoot, you'd fly that right up its nostril, for God's
Yes,
sakes,
you would.
You just get right up in there and say, I'm rich.
Yeah, you want a booger? Here's a wood booger for you.
Yeah, you're a drone booger. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's legitimate, but I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. We'll do one more, and then we'll carry on to the rest of our evening tonight. And this one is kind of interesting. It's like a discussion point. I didn't look at this one either. It's another big one, Don.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, shoot.
Thank God you went to high school.
I mean, I can read it. I just don't want to read that much of it, but I'll read some of it.
TLDR.
Yeah, let's get the brief version. Yeah, no kidding. All right, let's go to this one, unexplained-mysteries.com. Why do so many people assume that UFOs are extraterrestrial? What do you suppose, Don?
Say again. I'm sorry.
Why do so many people assume that UFOs are extraterrestrial?
Well, you got a good question there, but because it came up when there was no such thing as a UFO. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
But it doesn't. Just because it's unidentified doesn't mean it's actually extraterrestrial.
Well, that's true, but I mean, generally, I think most people assume that because, generally speaking, these things are observed doing things we can't do, and we're pretty much the dominant life form on this planet, as far as we know, as far as technology is concerned.
Yeah.
So, if it's something we can't do, someone else is doing it. Well, are they here? Is that what they're saying? Let's see what it says. We'll just read a little bit. Sociologist Barry Markovsky explores why it is not unusual for people to equate the term UFO with alien. Most of us still call them UFOs, unidentified flying objects. NASA recently adopted the term unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP. Either way, every few years, popular claims resurface that these things are not of the world, or that the U.S. government has some stored away.
No way.
I'm a sociologist.
Wow.
Good for you. Who focuses on the interplay between individuals and groups, especially concerning shared beliefs and misconceptions. As for why UFOs and their alleged occupants enthrall the public, I've found that normal human perceptual and social processes explain UFO buzz as much as anything up in the sky.
Oh wow.
I really want to be done reading this already. What do you think, Don? Carry on a little more, or what do you think?
Post the link.
Post the link. I'll post the link. If you want to discuss more about what this guy is talking about, be my guest. Because I don't want to. I'm already bored when he started talking about social and social. What did he say?
So I took a sociology
sociologist?
class in college, of course, right?
Uh-huh.
And the professor, the teacher, whatever it is, the instructor, whatever, said that she grades on a bell curve, right?
Uh-huh.
So I literally here's the definition of social engineering. I literally looked around the room and went, you know what? I only need to come to class 3 more times than that person, 2 times more than that person, and I don't have to do anything for that person because that person's not going to show up either. I went to school for 5 days. I went to that class for 5 days.
Uh-huh.
Got a freaking A in it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I totally. Yeah, tell me you're on a bell curve, right?
Way to get your money's worth, Don. It's a credit. It's a credit. Take a credit any way you can get it.
That's true.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. This has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News, and hope you learned something. Maybe you learned it wasn't really Bigfoot, that the carpenter guy was following with his drone. Maybe you learned that the news is a toss-up.
Why are people shocked that I went to college? Wow. Would they be shocked if they knew I held 2 degrees?
Newsflash, Don went to college.
Don's actually kind of smart occasionally.
What's your 2 degrees?
Culinary arts and law enforcement.
Oh, very cool.
So
there you go.
Cook
Don's one of them educated.
I cook them skills really well.
Absolutely. Well, there you go, folks. This has been the news. Hopefully you learned something. If not, well, we'll try again next time.
Nope, no degree in broadcasting. Barb Morris says, come sit over here with me and Maggie and Rachel.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What's going to happen over there, Don?
I think they're wanting some home cooking.
Yep.
Or they're just a couple skills that need correcting.
Yeah. All right, folks. So anyway,
We'll go with the home cooking.
What? Okay. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm just the guy reading stuff.
Hey, you want to do shout-outs real quick? We haven't done shout-outs in a while.
All right. If you want to shout out everybody, make sure to type something in the chat because
That's right.
Otherwise it won't populate our list.
That's
so
true.
Make sure you type hello, and then Don will get your name on the list as well.
So I'm going to start at the top of the list with Portal Mom.
Hey, she's on the portal. She's on the top.
Well, she is right now.
Oh, okay.
She yelled at me last week.
Last week? Or
Yeah. Well, no. Your mom's yelled at me twice that I know.
One of us has got to do it, Don.
All right. So we got 12 Pearls, Aggravated Progressive. Android's here. How you doing? Batman's here. Chucky Danger. Elaine Clifford. Flyer Tuck. Grumpy Owl. Jessica's here. Hi, Jess. John. Just Info. Con Squatch. Lucky Gypsy 13. Maggie M10. Marie Daniels, that's a new name for me.
Hi, Marie. Good to see you.
More of this and that. That's Barbara. How you doing? Paradox Fossil Alan. There's that. RJ Windwalker. Rachel gets it right. Ron the Sage. Sugar Britches. Wizard Moon. And let's see here. Did I miss anybody?
Did you get Flyer Tuck?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I remember saying that because I almost said it wrong.
Oh.
And I think that's all Caleb, there it is. All right, there you go. Shout-outs are done. Hi.
Well, my list kept growing. My list just kept growing, Don.
Well, congratulations.
Well, let me do... What the hell's going on?
Aw, thanks, Mom.
Wait, where did my chat go? Oh, there it is, finally. My computer's a little leggy.
Well, it's old.
Well, it is.
You've got
it's actually
42,000 tabs open on any
I
given.
know. That's why I give it 64 gigs of RAM.
Five friggin' different windows. And
yeah, or at least.
20,000. Your desktop is a mess, my goodness. Oh, jeez.
I probably don't have my allowance coming this week, Don. My desktop is a mess.
Your desktop is a mess.
I got a tab farm. You're right. You're absolutely right, Maggie.
Yep.
But, it's how I grow all this entertainment for you guys. I'm in here cultivating entertainment for you all week long. But now brings us to the next segment of our show, which is...
Sweet.
It is sweet, Don, as a matter of fact.
Chucky, how are we on the wrong side? This is the way we always are.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Chucky says we're on the wrong
He's
side.
got his phone upside down. Chucky, turn your phone over.
You got to have it in landscape. For
Hey, you
all
guys are
this
on the wrong
lusciousness.
sides, and Don's standing on his head. I don't know. It was funny in my head. Clean your room, Brent. I will try, Elaine. Thank you. I do tidy up from time to time, but there's a lot of variance in the distance those times take. So anyway, yeah, because I get up and come in here, and I'm here all day, and then I go run errands and come back here, and then I'm here doing shows,
Right.
and then I'm here doing videos, and I'm here recording interviews, and I mean, it's just my life is largely in this chair. It's almost like
My ass gets larger in this chair.
I know. Well, yeah. If you could see me stand up, you'd see that like my butt is like
Oh gosh.
it's almost like a
Talk about.
flat piece of cardboard.
Oh boy.
You know, I've destroyed the curvature.
Oh boy.
I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. I'm a little punchy today. So anyway, we're going to get to the next segment of our show, which is one that we've been having a lot of fun with. Special thanks to Chucky for keeping it going and keeping it relevant.
Oh yeah.
Chucky, you're just like a superstar here on the question of the week. Thank you so much, because it's so nice to know that it's being handled and that I don't have to handle it.
Oh,
So
that's funny.
what's that?
It's about astral projection.
What is?
His question today.
Oh yeah. It
And
is.
we just got done talking about lucid dreaming.
Yeah, from that news story.
Yeah.
The guy doing surgery on himself. Yeah.
Yeah, idiot.
Yeah, maybe you could do that for astral project. If he would have drilled a little deeper, he'd be projecting all over the place.
That's
He'd be projecting right out of his body. Anyway,
shut up, Don.
yeah. Wow, I didn't even have to say it.
Nice.
You know we love you, Don. All right, so let's get to the question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to dive into more of the mystery and mayhem that you love so much. And are you ready? Here goes. Oh, Maggie had a sick child. I hope your child is feeling better, Maggie. But all right, this is our Discord question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see on your screen, here is our Discord server. And special thanks to Caleb for making it possible that we have a static URL. So to join the Discord, let me pin that up there because I forgot that. https://discord.gg/ Paranormal Portal. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the link to our Discord server if you want to become a part of this. To take part in future conversations and questions, you can do so by clicking this link. There we go. Finally pinned it. So, without further ado, Don's going to take us through the question of the week.
Don is a Raiders fan? No, Don's not a Raiders fan.
No?
No. Some aggravated progressive made a statement. Not that I know of. Unless you're talking about, like, Vikings, not like Minnesota style.
Oh, you almost had my vote there, Doc.
Yeah,
I love the Vikings.
making
but
sure I was just slapping that one down.
yeah, no.
All right, question of the week for Wednesday's show is astral projection and remote viewing are a much discussed psychic phenomena. Do you think this is even possible? If so, what do you think's going on with the phenomena? Marie says, I believe it's possible, and I even think I started to do it accidentally once. Back in 2002, the hubs and I were napping one afternoon, and at some point I felt like I was lifting off the bed and began floating towards the wall. That would have led me outside. Wow.
Yeah.
It freaked me out so bad I woke up crying and gasping. My husband was trying to calm me down, but it felt so real, like I thought I was being abducted. Yes.
Ooh, creepy.
But it was the mid-afternoon. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, they
And
can be, abductions can happen anytime.
Anytime, yep.
Yep.
And he said, I was right there the whole time. I've been fascinated since I first learned what it was just a few years ago. If I can ever nail it, I'll come back and share my experiences.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. That'd be worth it. That'd be worth a podcast. So there you go. Caleb says, I think it's real. I've heard everyone that has this ability within them. I've heard everybody has the ability within them.
Sure.
They just have to tap into it and begin using it. Over time, it becomes stronger, and the person more and more in tune with understanding it.
Sure.
We're going to go ahead and skip that one.
Yeah.
ZX81 version 2. Be warned, if you attempt lucid dreaming, you may hear your heartbeat vanish. This freaks people out, and a lot will stop trying. It's not that your heart is stopped, it's more like your brain that allows you to listen to it shuts down, like REM, like in REM. However, unlike REM, you're aware of the transition. If this happens to you, relax, you're safe. It's part of the process. This doesn't affect some people, but it is a strange experience, so be warned. There you go. Eric the Purple Hobbit, how you doing, Eric? I'm thinking dreaming is a form of astral projection. I kind of agree, because I have a very realistic dreams and where I can feel the wind on my face, grass under my feet, water spray from the rain. Remote viewing, I think, is very possible. Reality is vague. You have to think I'm possibilities and probabilities. You have to think I'm possibilities and probabilities. There you go. Lars Grass. Those are lucid dreams, not astral projection. Astral projection is of the devil. No offense to people, just my opinion. The lucid dreaming are just deeper dreams. Most of my dreams are lucid, and I don't astral project. Okay. Arc Blaster. Yeah, there's no H there, is there? Arc Blaster. They have to be real. Aren't detectives told not to look at the back of someone's head during training, so their cover isn't blown due to the ability we all have of knowing when others are looking at us? Man, that's a long sentence. There you go.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Don't look at the back of people's heads. You know, that's interesting. That's like the whole thing, like we know when we're being watched.
Right.
So I've not heard that.
Leave it to Android.
Yeah?
Yeah, he just posted an answer.
I was like, where did that come from? Wait a minute.
Right,
I looked away and there was an Android response.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Android says, I think both are possible. I think something different is going on with each one. For astral projection, I think it's extremely similar to near-death experiences. But main difference being your heart is still beating with astral projection. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have had something similar to remote viewing, having random visions I wasn't even trying to see. Most of the time it's just random images or items. Never seems to mean anything. The main instance is when my girlfriend was telling me she visited a friend's house for the first time, with her telling me nothing but that it was an old, beautiful old house. Then suddenly I got the image of her mom's friend doing something in the dining room with her hands and described the color of the room, and her friend's mom being pretty slim. There you go. So he described the room. Mm-hmm. I nailed every detail that came to me. It was wild. I wasn't even trying to think of it. Just randomly popped into my head. Now I know what people mean by I saw it in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. It puzzles me, but maybe something to do with string theory and quantum entanglement. Way above comprehension for my slightly above average brain. I agree. I'm right there with you, brother. Too much thinking for a Logan.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I think. Well, what do you think about it, Don? What are your reflections?
I think astral projection and lucid dreaming are two different things. Mm-hmm. I think, when they were doing the remote viewing, like the Montauk Project and things like that, remote viewing falls into that kind of similar thing with astral projection. They're not the same, but they're similar in my opinion. So it's more that way with astral projection. But lucid dreaming is, I kind of have to agree with the deeper dreams that were mentioned earlier. And, the deeper you can go, the more surreal they become.
Sure.
So yeah, I think that's, I've woke up, with some really, I've woke up crying from some real deep lucid dreams. you know, and they kind of change my paradigm a bit when that happens. So there you go. I think they're two separate things, but I think they're very, very real.
Yeah, dreams are really pretty incredible, and I always marvel at the and again I end up repeating myself a lot on the show, but there's been times when I would pay attention because what I found was when I was paying attention when I was falling asleep is that suddenly you'll be in a conversation with people that but your conscious mind is still there going, who the hell are these people? But in my dream, I know I'm dreaming, and I know that I know them in my dream. So I almost wonder if some of those dreams aren't connections to some of our multiversal selves. We're experiencing another version of ourselves or another manifestation of ourselves in its experience. And so we're kind of seeing through the eyes of them. In some of these lucid dreams are incredible.
Right.
I think that they are very, very powerful. I love the ones where you can fly, like you can just kind of push off the ground and just soar.
That's one of my reoccurring ones.
Right. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I wonder what Mr. Tony Merkel has to say. Beans as he just popped in here, dropped a liner and left.
The Shape of Shadows drops on August 19th.
Cool.
Okay, he came by to drop a plug.
Yeah, that's all he did.
Oh, my God.
Now you can actually call in because we know you're actually still listening. So we're talking about astral projection and lucid dreaming. Give us a call, Mr. Merkel.
He came by and dropped a plug. What a shameless self-promotion. I love it. Oh man, what an opportunistic guy. He's always working it, Mr. Merkel. He's
welcome to do it here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very cool.
Ouch.
But yeah, I think astral projection is incredible as well. I think it's possible to direct your consciousness and to push out and again remote viewing I think is very much a part of astrally projecting at least some portion of your consciousness.
Right. Absolutely.
I know when Wes and I did the show, the podcast show about the Stargate project and stuff, and all of the work that was being done and the experiences these people had, it's powerful, powerful stuff. And I think anybody can be trained to do it. I don't think it's necessarily unique to some people. Like, it's not quite the same as like, hey, some people are really psychic and other people are not. And with psychic stuff, I think that there are just gifts that we have that sometimes people, for whatever reason, are fortunate enough to have them just turned on.
Right.
And then I think the other people have to actually work and develop it. But I think all of this stuff is really profound and may demonstrate, an insight into the nature of consciousness, that maybe consciousness really is universal. Like, we're all in the mind of God, or whatever, however you want to phrase that.
Right.
And I think that that's a really powerful thing. So anyway, I don't know. You be the judge. Nothing ever is, meant to make you believe.
We don't say anything concrete in this room.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So without anything more to add to that, thank you everybody for taking part in our question of the week. Once again, thank you, Chucky, for making
being awesome and on top of that.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
Absolutely. Really appreciate it, Chucky. And so this has been a production of the Questions of the Week. There you go, folks. That was it. All right. Thank you, everybody. And remember, if you want to get involved in the Discord community, by all means, the link is pinned to the top of the chat in YouTube here. So you can click that and just get involved. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. We've gotten a lot of new people in there lately. It's really cool to see more people coming in the door and getting involved. So thank you, everybody. All right. Let me close this. Let me get some other stuff open here because it's now time for the next segment, which again, we're going to be visiting an article from moneyawaits.com, Glitches in the Matrix Moments. So I don't know about y'all, but Glitch in the Matrix stuff.
They're fun.
They are really cool.
Until you hear this. MIB. Is your name Anderson by any chance?
Mr. Anderson. All right, we're going to get to this article, and again, it's from moneyawaits.com. Is this, what am I doing? Here we go. Got to turn this off.
I don't know.
Is this, this site isn't like normally a paranormal site, but a lot of sites are doing this, and I think it's just a way to drill traffic in because they appeal to, these niches of interest. And in this case, it's glitches in the matrix, but it's moneyawaits.com. And these are eerie glitch in the matrix moments. And we are on number 65. We're about maybe 2/3 of the way through this article. So we're getting there, Don. And 65 is water under the bridge. And again, these are Reddit scrapes, so they're just Reddit comments. People responded to a thread and, shared their stories. So they are supposed to be legitimate and true. Are they? Hell, I don't know. Maybe. Well, let's take a look. 65, water under the bridge. So I was at my friend's house the other day, and we got some drinks from the kitchen and then went up to his room to play some video games. Well, he puts his glass of water on his bookshelf and then turned around to shut his door. In doing so, he knocked over the full glass of water, and it went all over the floor. My friend was pretty angry as it got over quite a few of his books as well. So we went downstairs to get some kitchen towels and came back up like 30 seconds later, and when we opened his door, we noticed that the wet patch on the floor was gone. So we felt it, and it was bone dry. His books that got wet were dry too, and we couldn't find the glass that we'd left on the floor either. It was then that we looked up and saw a full glass of water sitting on his bookshelf.
Wow.
That was my Grizzly Bongo. Wow. So it's like that. It was like a reset, Don.
Right, yeah. So
Wouldn't it be nice if you could just do that at will? Like, ooh, I didn't just drop that vase.
You're only thinking about vases?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
What do you think about relationships or something?
Oh, I got nothing to say. I got nothing to say.
All right, well, we'll leave it there in the myriad of questions that just now formed in my head.
I said, what the hell's he talking about now?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know what Don's not saying, but I'm interested. You have my attention. All right, number 66, Soul Survivor. Well, this happened years ago, but I still remember it like it happened yesterday. I was with my boyfriend at the time, and we're waiting for a bus on a really long main road. Well, as we're waiting, I happened to see an old lady walking in our direction from ages away, and something about her really caught my attention. She was small and old, but was hobbling towards us so quickly and with what seemed like such purpose. I don't know why, but I just felt like she was looking straight at me, even though she was kind of far away. Well, as she got closer, I noticed she was indeed looking at me with a warm smile on her face, slightly out of breath. Just full on staring at me. She crossed the road and walked straight up to me as if she'd known me for a lifetime. She put her arms on my shoulders and told me, "You are the sole proprietor of your own body." She just stood there smiling at me.
Oh my.
What the hell does that mean? She seemed relieved, as if she just made it just in time to give me this message. It wasn't creepy at all, just a bit confusing, so I asked her to explain what she meant. She simply said, "Nobody can touch you. If you don't let them, my dear, it's your body. Nobody can put their hands on you if you don't allow it." And just like that, she left.
Wow.
Later that same day, my ex was physically violent with me for the first time. Well, this always stuck with me. Not saying she was an angel or something, but maybe just a really batty lady with good timing. But it's just something I never forget. Wow, that was by Hillepaw or Healypaw or however you say that. But yeah, that's bizarre. A guardian angel maybe, Don?
Maybe.
Like get rid of this trash now. Yeah. Well, apparently that's why they didn't stay together. Number 67, two roads diverged in a yellow wood. I said mood. It's like I went fully dyslexic there for a second. This happened just a few years ago. I was driving through East Pennsylvania, and I'm giving this girl I had just met at a friend's house that night a ride back to her place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see where this is going, Don? Now, getting to her house involves going down a one-lane road that I'd driven on at least 100 times prior to this. At one section, the road meanders around a ridge, making a big right turn, and then it does a sharp turn left after a couple hundred yards, and then right again, where these two logs laying on the side of the road make kind of an X shape on the ground. It's a very distinct landmark, at least for me. This is the way the road has always been. So there we are, trying to find topics to talk about to keep the car ride from becoming awkward since we hardly know each other. We take a right turn around the bend, then a sharp left turn, and then there's a left turn up ahead where there should be a right turn. Immediately, my body goes into a fight or flight mode. I remember thinking, this isn't right. I know there's a right turn here. This is not what is supposed to be here. And she knew it too. We both fell silent, just looked ahead in confusion. The road about 100 yards in front of me just turned left and disappeared off into the woods.
Uh-oh.
To the right, there was nothing, just a side of a hill and some trees. It looked completely natural, not like a mirage or anything, and yet it felt so strange and almost intentionally deceptive.
Wow.
Well, none of this made sense. I knew these roads. As we approached the turn, I decided that I'm not going down that road. Something bad was down that road. I just made the irrational decision to turn right instead and hope for the best. The girl in the car put her hands on the dashboard to brace for impact. My eyes were still fixated down the left turning road as I started steering to my right, and then as my gaze shifted towards the direction I was now driving, suddenly I could see the correct road in front of me again.
Wow.
Everything was back to normal. I looked in the rearview mirror, and sure enough, the left turning road was non-existent. My hands felt icy cold, and I was physically shaking.
Wow.
I pulled over to my right, and we just sat there in silence. We contemplated going back to investigate, but
Don't do it.
just looking at the road behind me gave me a sick feeling in my stomach. And she felt it too. We decided to get the heck out of there, and that was that. I was very hesitant to go down that road again and avoided it the best I could after that, but a few weeks or months later, I decided to go back in the day and just check it out. I pulled over at the right turn spot, got out of my car, and walked around the area. And this is the part that really freaks me out. I quickly found out that on the left side of the road, obscured by some thick underbrush, was a very steep, rocky cliff that dropped off maybe 200 or 250 feet into a ravine. The phantom road would have taken me directly through a clearing in between two trees that led straight over the cliff.
Wow.
If I had chosen not to follow my gut and drove down that road, there's a very, very good chance that we would have been seriously injured or worse. Apparently, several people have crashed in that area by driving down the ravine. It might just be coincidence, who knows? I don't know what to make of this event. If I were alone, I'd be more willing to write it off as a hallucination or just a trick of the eye, but I wasn't alone. She saw the same thing I did.
Yeah, that's all kinds of bad.
14th clueless bird. You wonder if that's like some kind of supernatural trap or something, you know?
Well, you know,
A soul sucker.
411.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the missing 411 stuff. Is that an example of, I mean, because anybody that saw that after the fact would go, well, they must have lost control and went off the road. You know, I mean, who would think that you saw a road there that wasn't there?
Well, the coyote.
Meep, meep.
Meep, meep.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but that's very strange. Very strange. That is a glitch. But I think it's like there's almost like a diabolical intelligence behind something like that, right?
Right.
Yeesh, that's creepy. All right, number 68, bad lot. A bad lot. Yesterday, I decided to drive to the mall, the one I go to. It is massive. It's circular, and you can drive around it. It has a massive car park on one side. So all seems normal on my way to the mall with my girlfriend, and as we get there, it looks really quiet. There's about 10 cars there, so I'm questioning whether or not the mall is open, which is really weird. We drive around to the other side just to see what's going on, and there's a few people about and a few cars, but not much else. So we decided to go around back to the first side where we normally park. Our plan is to walk to the entrance to see what's up. And this is where it gets weird. As we pull up around to the other side again, the whole car park is full. Literally people walking about everywhere. People sitting outside having coffee, and there was even 2 ambulances. So very weird. Me and my girlfriend were unbelievably shocked. We were speechless, and we literally sat in the car for 10 minutes trying to get our heads around it. I haven't felt right since. The time difference for driving around was about 2 minutes. It would have been physically impossible for all those cars and people to get there, park, enter the mall, etc. What happened? That was my revolutionary cut 5210. What do you think happened there, Don? I mean, we got to make an assumption that we have to assume it's real. Like, say it's real. What the hell just happened?
Right.
Is it literally a glitch of the Matrix, or did they like fold through dimensional spaces or something? I mean, that's so bizarre. Do you have any idea?
No, the only thing I could think of is just a slipping of the veil.
Right. Right.
Just, don't walk through the mist. Right?
Do not go through the mist. Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
Number 69, 1 pill makes you larger.
Ooh. Can I have 2?
Thanks to my doctor. Thank you. All right, 1 pill makes you larger. This happened a few days ago. I can't even say it. I was gonna just keep following it, but nope. My husband and I were at home, just a normal evening.
Wonderful.
Hey, good. For reference, I'm 5'8" tall, and my husband's 5'7" tall.
There you go.
We've been together for years and know very well what the other looks like head on. I'd gone to the kitchen to make a sandwich, and something felt off. I wasn't sure what until my husband asked if I was taller than usual. Well, I was flat-footed and barefoot, but realized my viewpoint was as if I was on my tiptoes. I could see the top of the fridge, and my hips were above the kitchen counter. I turned to face my husband, and he seemed much shorter to me than usual. Our eyes are usually pretty close to even, but they seem much lower than mine. And he says he felt like his height didn't change at all, but just mine. Understandably, we were both freaked out and were wandering around our apartment trying to figure out what was going on. Suddenly, everything felt right again, and I returned to the kitchen. I could no longer see the top of the fridge, and the counter was back even with my hips. My husband returned, and both of us looked right again to the other. It was like once we couldn't see each other anymore, it fixed itself. Oh, okay, so once they got some space and then came back together. And that was from Ghost on Toast. I like these Reddit names. They're hilarious. All right, we're going to go to 70 and stop here. This is number 70, Unfriended. 2 years ago, I went on vacation to Spain. Well, I was a package tour for teens, and I befriended a guy and a girl there who were a few rooms away from me in the hotel. Well, since we were over 18 and we were allowed to hang out alone outside the hotel, so we practically spent the whole trip just walking around town together. I clearly remember adding the girl, let's name her X, on Facebook and talking to her on Messenger. And that's how the three of us were planning our days. I even started a group conversation with X and that boy. Let's name him Y.
Oh, how original.
Spent a lot of time thinking up those.
Wow.
Fast forward to today. It was her birthday, so I wanted to wish her a happy birthday on Messenger, and she just wasn't in my contacts. I thought maybe she unfriended me, but looking her up on Facebook didn't bring up anything. Well, I decided to ask why, whether he'd heard from her recently, and he told me he didn't know any girl with that name, and I looked through all the people me and X both added on Facebook during our trip, and even asked some of them about her. Nobody seems to recall meeting her. Y claims we were hanging out with another girl who I do know and spoke to on the trip, but never hung out with. I don't know what to make of it, and I'm kind of freaking out. I think maybe my mental health is much worse than I thought. But honestly, there's a huge difference between mild seasonal depression, and hallucinating a person for 2 weeks straight. That was by Trash Panda, with all the A's being number 4s.
Except for the last
And
one.
except for the last one.
Which doesn't make any sense having it there.
All right. Why even bother?
Well, because maybe somebody else was a Trash Panda as well.
Maybe. Had to use what they could.
Maybe they're Trash Panda bullet point A.
Could be, Don. Might be bullet point A. All right, so there you go, folks. Those are some weird glitch in the Matrix stories. Oops. Forgot to turn that off. Yeah.
Well, and there was something on the Ghost Radar, too.
Was there really? Oh, there was, wasn't there?
Yep.
Yep. Just some detected presences. Nobody's... I did kind of cleanse a little bit today, so...
I certainly hope so.
after Saturday's show. Nothing felt bad about Saturday at all. It was all real...
It's just
real benign and actually really cool.
Somebody had their ass in my chair. Damn.
They might still be there, Dylan.
They might. Never mind.
Yeah. Let's just move along.
Please.
Move along. Nothing to see here. All right, so we're gonna go to some Sasquatch Chronicles blog because, well, by God, we can.
There you go.
And thanks to Mr. Wes Germer for letting us use this. Once again, if you're not checking out SasquatchChronicles.com, you're missing a big portion of what Wes does. So I know everybody likes the podcast, but there's so much more that he links and shares through the blog and on the webpage. So check it out. And you could also become a member if you so choose.
You should choose.
If you should. By God, you should.
There's no if you should choose.
If you should.
You just should.
You should. All right. Well, we're going to go to a Sasquatch Chronicles blog story from July 10th, and it's called A Fake Woodpecker, Don. What the hell? I don't even know why that's funny. What is that? What's going on?
Nothing.
All right. Your head is just like stuck in high school. A listener writes, "We love your show, and I'm a member of Sasquatch Chronicles. My family and I have been listening for over a year, and we've been looking forward to going out to look for Sasquatch. Oof, be careful. We took a road trip to Indiana for a family reunion over 4th of July weekend or whatever, and I knew a great spot to try our luck. Well, this past Friday, my daughter Katie and I went to Hoosier National Forest in Indiana. We climbed up a fire tower and played the Sierra sounds, howls, and whoops from my big Bluetooth speaker at the top of the tower for about 30 minutes or so. Wow. That's asking for it.
Yeah.
Then we hiked in about 1.5 miles to go to a cemetery. Well, our dog kept pulling us forward on her leash. She was sniffing all around about the 0.5 mile mark, and it got so silent, and we never heard anything else. No birds, no insects, and even the flies had left us alone. And I thought I heard movement and thumps from both sides behind us to the east and west.
Yeah.
But we kept going, and around 1.5 miles we stopped and did a tree knock.
What the hell?
They're just hitting all the marks.
Well, literally.
Yeah. A few seconds later, we heard a fake woodpecker about 250 yards away to our west.
Oh.
We kind of got spooked and decided to turn around and hike back. We hiked for about 2 minutes and did another knock, and boom, instantly we heard the fake woodpecker again. Only this time it was closer, like 100 yards to the west. We started walking faster, and about a minute later heard the fake woodpecker again, but it was much closer, like 40 yards. And then I thought I heard thumping from the east side of us. Our dog Bailey didn't alert, but she stopped pulling on her leash and was staying right with us. As we walked, I thought I heard something on both sides behind us and told my daughter to stop so we could listen. When we stopped, an acorn or a rock or something small came out of the east side thrown at us. Well, that spooked us even more, and we started hiking again at a good clip. And then about 30 seconds later, Katie smelled something rotten, said like a dead skunk, that she didn't smell when we were hiking in. I can't smell anything at all because of COVID vaccine. Oh, that's not good. Well, you can put a cup of I think bleach or ammonium under my nose, and I can't smell a thing. About 400 yards after that, we heard a screech about 100 yards ahead of us to the east. I could have sworn we were being paced out, but never heard any big footsteps or walking, just the occasional rustling of leaves or limbs. And at about 200 yards from the truck, we started hearing and seeing birds, and the flies came back. I've spent my whole life in the woods. I used to live in the mountains of Montana and Wyoming in tents in the summer, doing research after college in Southern Oregon or as a BLM contractor. But coming out, I've never been so happy to see my truck or as scared in the woods. I didn't have a big enough gun. I only had a 9mm with me on Friday, or a big enough group to feel secure. But truth be told, we sort of invited this on ourselves.
You think?
It's like ringing the dinner bell.
Exactly.
I've had other strange encounters during my years in the forest, and there are more details to the story, and we'd love the chance to talk to you and share more. Please let us know if you're interested in chatting more. I wonder what they mean by a fake woodpecker, though. What does that mean, do you suppose?
Well, I don't know.
I just trying to...
Maybe it was more just a...
Yeah, just like a knocking rather than... Yeah.
Right.
Maybe.
Huh.
Well, yeah, but they, it's one of those things. They went out looking for Sasquatch. They played sounds. They hit trees. And then when it happened, they're like, Right. So why invite something that you're really not prepared for? And I don't know if you can ever prepare for something like that, honestly, because I just think that once something like that appears, it's just so much bigger and more than your mind can handle.
Right.
I just think it'd be absolutely overwhelming. But anyway, they did invite it, so I guess they got what they were looking for, in a manner of speaking. But bring a bigger gun next time. No, I don't ever encourage people to take shots at these things at all.
No, that's not a good idea
Yeah.
unless they're actually charging at you.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you got no choice, then you got to do what you got to do. But just because you're uncomfortable in the woods, you don't start, blowing shots.
Right. Karen, go lay down. You're listening. That's all we ask.
Oh, is she not feeling well?
That's apparently not, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Karen. Hope you feel better. All right, let's go to the next one from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and this is from July 13th. And it starts out, I'm convinced it was either a Sasquatch or some sort of chimpanzee.
There's a size difference there.
Right, but they, Sasquatch are young at some point.
Oh, well.
A listener writes, I was listening to episode 264, I believe, and there was a report from a guy in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And it made me want to contact you with my experience, although it's pretty mundane. I saw something in 2009 in northeast Iowa, not too far from La Crosse, about 45 minutes. My girlfriend and I were on our way to visit my parents, and we were driving on some gravel back roads, and something ran across the road in front of our car. She wasn't looking at the road, so only I saw it, but I promise it was not something normal. It was really large, but it moved so smoothly on two legs. My first thought it was some sort of kid, but not, it says not, it was all black. I'm not sure what that means. Hairy, and its hands were past its knees. It never looked at me, but it was really quick and moved so gracefully. I'm convinced it was either a Sasquatch or some sort of chimpanzee. Well, again, if it was huge, obviously it's not some sort of chimpanzee.
Chimp, yeah.
But it was standing too straight for that. And I stopped the car and was sort of in shock, to be honest. I've never seen anything else after that. And it's not a very exciting, but I have to believe I'm not the only one that's seen something in this area. Listening to your show makes me feel not feel so crazy, and makes me confident to share this with you.
Nice. Wow.
That's not far from where I was growled at. La Crosse is about an hour south.
Oh, wow.
Right along the edge of Minnesota. So, I will tell you, when I was growing up there, I never heard anyone talk about Bigfoot. No one ever came forward and said they saw anything that I'd ever heard of.
Right.
So, and it was a small town I grew up in. So you would have heard about it if somebody had said something.
Right.
But nobody ever talked about it. So I really, and back then I had no concept of Bigfoot even being there anyway. So, but I will tell you that since doing this show, I've talked to a couple people in that area of where I grew up that have seen Bigfoots on 2 different occasions very near where I was growled at. So they saw, right next to a road, a big old black Sasquatch, Bigfoot. And, they came across very credible. They're not like super Bigfooters or fans or anything. They're just like, yeah, I saw it. I couldn't believe my eyes. And it was actually a guy that does signs. He was doing signage for a golf course. And he saw it when they were either measuring or doing something for installing signage. So, they're in the area. But they're kind of everywhere. I mean, really, there's not like there's squatch zones and non-squatch zones.
Right.
They could be anywhere, So, but very cool. And there's a lot of agriculture around there, so I imagine they subsist just fine, taken, from corn and beans and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So, anyway, very cool. And it's not far from where I was. So, all right, we're going to go to the last one from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. And this is from July 15th. Something is on the property. A listener writes, "Hello, Wes. I'm writing you in hopes of you suggesting the perfect episode for my daughter to listen to. Something that would help explain all the oddities that she is experiencing. She's in her late 20s, married, and lives in the country in central Illinois. She raises horses, cows, goats, chickens, and several other animals. Her husband's gone a lot with work, and like in many of your episodes, that's when stuff happens. This doesn't happen all the time, but there are patterns to when it does. She'll go out to the barn and get a dreadful feeling with an uncontrollable fear. Even her 5 dogs will not go in there. Of course, she leaves there and walks, not runs, scared to run, back to the house. There are times when rocks are thrown at her, and sometimes she'll see movement out of the corner of her eye. She knows something is out there, but doesn't know what it is. When her husband gets home, she tells him about it, and he just rolls his eyes and goes out there to find nothing. I mentioned Bigfoot and told her about an experience that I had and why I believe the creature is real, and that made her open up a little to the possibility. But I believe if she heard similar experiences other than mine, she'd be able to understand it and maybe handle it better. And I didn't ask about the orbs or dig too deep. I figured that I can do that after she gets more info and feels a bit more comfortable talking about it. Anyway, I appreciate your help. Yeah, there's no shortage of reports of them being around, farms and barns and stuff, often around horses, commonly. And I remember this one story that I read years ago. It was kind of funny, and maybe you remember it too. I don't know. It was when we did the show upstairs, but the story went that somebody had horses, and they always had this bin of the oats with some molasses on them and stuff, and they kept noticing that it was just going down really quick. They get another bag, put it in, and soon after it was already going down a lot, and it's like, man. So what they did was they took that bin of oats and molasses and stored it in the barn. Well, turns out then all hell broke loose.
Right.
And what they had found was that they were inadvertently habituating. They had put out this food, and Bigfoot was apparently coming by, helping themselves to these oats and molasses and having a good old time. But once they locked it away, they were pissed.
Right.
And I can't remember what they did, but I remember just really all hell broke loose after that. But they hadn't realized that they were habituating.
Yeah.
So, but they were leaving out food, and these things had become used to just coming by and getting some. So when it wasn't there, they threw a fit. That's the problem with habituating, is that it's all hunky-dory while you can keep up with it. But if you ever stop, you're probably in for a world of problems.
Well, think about, I remember hearing some things like that. But, the thing I know about habituating, though, is like, and Bear brought this up so many years ago. He's like, what happens if you move out?
Right.
And
or you go to the hospital or
you
something.
go to hospital, yeah, and you come home and, the house is wrecked, or you hear that's that house you sold to that nice couple is under attack by something they can't describe.
Yeah, something's coming and slapping the house and, breaking things. Yeah.
So, be careful what you do.
Yeah.
Leaving feed out on accident, that's something we learn. But you got to be careful about that stuff.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. So, yeah, don't feed the Squatch. It's probably the best takeaway. If you're going to leave things out for them, make sure it's pretty beads or something like that.
Something
that they don't eat. And Bear also brought up another point. It's like
how
we
do
don't
you
know
know?
if they have food allergies or whatever. I mean, how many kids now have like peanut allergies? They can like die, go into anaphylactic shock if they eat the wrong thing. And we don't know what our processed foods would do to them.
And our food is so processed that we have no clue as to what kind of diseases it could cause them.
Sure.
He brought up specifically diabetes.
Oh, sure. Yeah. All our sugars. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And think about the dental work too. It's like they don't have toothbrushes or dentists, so you could get a rotten tooth and abscess, and suddenly this thing's starving to death because it can't eat. So, be careful with the gifting. Anyway, let's get on to another site. We're going to go to phantomsandmonsters.com. This is Lon Strickler's site, and he's been on the show a few times himself, just a great guy. But he has phantomsandmonsters.com, and it's a great location to learn about all of the work they're doing and all of the stories that are reported to Lon or that he acquires through different means. But it's also a great repository for his published works. You can find links to all the books he's doing, the research efforts that they're doing over there, as well as Phantoms and Monsters, the podcast. So all kinds of cool stuff over there. So visit phantomsandmonsters.com. And that's what we're going to do right now, because we're going to the first article. I love these stories. I wish there was more of them, but they're very, very rarely reported. Living gnome frolicking in our garden. And some people out there may be like, what? Gnome? What do you mean? Well, these are proto-pygmies. These are our good friend Robin Moonshadow is a researcher of proto-pygmies as well as Bigfoots. And she's done a lot of work documenting and studying the phenomena of these diminutive creatures that look very much like gnomes. They look like the garden gnomes that's, people buy the statues of.
Right.
And, the legends of gnomes are as old as a lot of our, a lot of histories around the world. So this is not a new phenomenon, but it's apparently it's out there. This is an Australian witness describes the living gnome that she observed from her living room window as a teenager. Well, her parents never believed her, but years later, it's still vivid in her memory. Lon says he received the following account. I've had a few paranormal experiences throughout my life, but the strangest and most unbelievable was what I know I used to see as a teenager. A gnome. It wouldn't have ever even been as tall as my knee, probably halfway up my shin. It had a red hat, which is apparently those are not the good ones.
Not the good ones.
Yeah, the red caps are really, really pretty aggressive usually. It had a red hat and a white beard, and it was a typical garden gnome. Only he wasn't a statue. I saw him at least a dozen times through our living room window, frolicking about in the garden. Frolicking. That's what they do, Don. That's what I do in my garden. And along the windows outside, the windowsill outside. I'd sometimes even see his silhouette through the blinds if they were closed on a sunny day. My parents obviously brushed it all off as silly crap kids say. When I told them what I saw, oh, don't be silly. Oh, did you? They never paid it any attention, and why would they? I even remember my father saying something to Mom like, we don't even have a garden gnome. And she responded that it was just an active imagination. I lived there until I was about 18 or 19. I don't even think anyone in our street owned garden gnomes at all. It never even once looked at me, like he didn't know I was watching or perhaps didn't care. The last time I saw him was about 20 years ago. I'd never spoken about it to anyone but my mother and sister during my adult life, else I'd probably be admitted to a mental health ward. When I asked Mom, she still remembers me talking about him when I was little. Most people reading will probably think, what a load, but I promise this is true. Was he real? Or possibly a fabricated memory of some kind? Why would my mind make me remember fake stuff? Has anyone else ever seen one? This happened in the western suburbs of Sydney, Australia. Well, I wonder what she observed it doing. She doesn't really ever say. She just says...
It was just frolicking.
Yeah.
That's what it was doing.
What is exactly frolicking? Is that like dancing around?
La, 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 la,
Yeah,
la,
like the
la,
Smurfs.
la, la, la.
Okay. Well, I guess he's a happy little gnome, even though he's a red cap. But
Oh, yeah.
whatever the hell it was doing, it was there. Yeah, I don't know. I think those stories are fantastic, and I do believe these are a real phenomena. I don't know that they're physical or non-physical. I don't know what to make of it, but they are. It's a interesting stuff. So let's go to the next one from Phantoms and Monsters, and this is Black-Eyed Kids. Don,
Oh, my.
you love these.
Yeah.
Don loves the Black-Eyed Kids.
Only if I'm the one giving them black eyes.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
There you go.
This is the way. All right. That's like Don's Mandalorian thing. There you go.
There you go.
Yep. Instead of this is the way. I've received several requests that I post more on Black-Eyed Kids reports that I've received in the past, so I dug into my archives for the following unusual incidents. Enjoy. Hello, Lon. Your posts about black-eyed children were new information to me. I read a lot of UFO material and watched a zillion TV shows on the paranormal, but this was the first time I'd heard about the possible alien/human hybrid children now living among us. Guess I should come out from under my rock more often. The black-eyed part of the story really gave me a shock. We live in a neighborhood of small family houses in Arlington, Texas. Every year we have from 40 to 60 trick-or-treaters at our door on Halloween night. They usually consist of small children accompanied by adults, older children in groups, and teenagers who can't seem to give up their childhood fun. Sometimes the teens don't even bother to wear costumes. Well, Halloween night of 2011 was a busy one on our street, and at one point, I answered the doorbell to a large group of kids of various ages. Two of the tallest ones were dressed in rather flashy costumes. I remember nylon net, glitter sequins, and garish makeup. I don't remember if they were both girls or if one was a boy. I always pay attention and compliment the kids on their costumes. When I looked at the eyes of the teenagers, I was really taken back. The entire visible eyeballs were shiny coal black.
Wow.
I told them they had great costumes, and I think I asked if those things hurt their eyes. I naturally assumed they were wearing contact lenses covering the entire eye surface. I got no answer to my question. They just sort of smiled. Maybe they just didn't want to converse with an elderly grandmother type. I don't even know if I got a thank you for the candy from either of them or not. I closed the door before the massive kids left the porch, so I don't know if the two teens went off by themselves or if they were with some of the younger kids. I remember mentioning to my husband that some teens were wearing what looked like painful contact lenses, and then didn't think about the incident until you told me about black-eyed children. Wow, or not a wow. Were they hybrids or just ultra cool teens? I believe the latter, and that they were trying to shock people. In any case, they succeeded with me. I know I would not have let them in my house, whatever they were. Well, thanks for all your work. From G. Next one is, hello, something happened to me last summer that has left me with many questions and few answers. I was employed at an appliance and furniture rental and sale business in Great Bend, Kansas. One morning, a coworker and I opened the store, and when we arrived, we noticed that the back door was open, and when we entered the back room, all the lights in the store had been turned on. It didn't look like a break-in because the security latch was intact. The security system had been disabled. There was no power indicator on the code box. We immediately called the police and the store manager to report the situation. We were told not to open the store and to remain in the back office until someone arrived. A few minutes later, after hanging up the phone with the store manager, a police officer was knocking on the back door. Well, I let him in and told him what we had found, and when we arrived, the officer started to walk through the back room and into the showroom when we started to hear a baby cry. I thought that a customer may have somehow entered the store and that they had a baby with them. My coworker and I followed the officer in the direction of the crying. Well, I didn't believe what I saw. There were 2 babies lying on a twin-size bed display. The officer told us to stay there while he checked the rest of the store. He also radioed for another police officer to come to the location. I looked down at the babies, who were both tightly wrapped in dark green cloth. Both babies were quiet, very still, and looking at me and my coworker. I was taken aback by their odd eyes. Both babies had large pupils that were black. There were no irises, and neither of the babies blinked. The police officer was soon back with us, and he commented on the baby's eyes as well. In fact, he was totally freaked out, so much so that he looked scared. The store manager soon arrived, as well as the senior police officer, and we all stood around the bed looking at these strange babies who lay there quietly watching us. The store manager pulled my coworker and me to the side and told us to go ahead and leave. He was not opening the store until he found out what was going on. Well, we quickly headed out toward the back door and left. I wasn't scheduled to work until a couple of days later, but I talked to a few coworkers who said that the atmosphere in the store was very strange. They had been receiving weird telephone calls, and the security alarm would trip several times during the day. I got to work a little early on my next scheduled shift, and when I arrived, the store manager was sitting in the office, so I asked him what had happened after we left. He said that 2 young women who said they were from the municipal court eventually showed up and took the babies. The senior police officer told him later that he had no idea who the women were, but that he was told by his superior not to impede. He thought they were probably from McConnell Air Force Base in Wichita. He also said that the babies were very quiet and seemed relaxed the entire period that they were there. I stopped working there not long after, and things were just never the same, and got tougher each day, especially when odd-looking people would come into the store and just walk around. I didn't feel comfortable being there. I read the article not long ago about black-eyed kids and the theories on their existence. Have you heard of similar incidents? I'd appreciate your feedback. I've never heard of a story like that before. Have you?
No.
That's insane. Little babies.
BEBs.
Little black-eyed babies, yeah. Those are BEBs. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. My father and I were in Dulce, New Mexico. I've lived in New Mexico since 2000, but I'd never been to this town, despite it having quite the history in cattle mutilations, etc. As we were inside the grocery store, there were 2 very strange-looking teens wandering around, almost like brother and sister. The younger boy was about 11 and had his hair slicked like alfalfa from the Little Rascals, and the teen girl was wearing dark black sunglasses indoors the whole time. Upon leaving the store, another family was coming in, a white engineering-type, nerdy government lab-looking type with a Native American woman, along with their 4 children. There was a baby in the basket covered with a blanket, a 2-year-old, and what looked like a 4- and 7-year-old girls. The combination of the nerdy engineer-type white guy and his native-looking wife in such an insular community seems strange to me for this area. Then there were the children, whose skin was much, much darker than that of what I assumed to be their Native American mother. The 2 girls stopped short of me, and as I was coming out of the grocery store entrance, the way they looked at me, almost animal-like, in curiosity with silent gazes, and their heads cocked inquisitively, almost like a curious puppy dog, with what seemed to be extremely dark black, very reflective, glistening eyes.
Wow.
Well, you know about Dulce, right, Don?
Yeah.
Phil Schneider was out the Dulce base, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if you guys ever want to hear some strangeness, look up a video of an interview with Phil Schneider.
Yeah.
And he apparently was attacked. He was working with the government to do deep underground military bases. And
there's no such thing.
The dumbs. And they apparently had a run-in with some tall alien grays.
It's more like a shootout.
Yeah, and Phil lost part of his hand.
As a matter of fact, there was somebody in the chat earlier, Juno, from Dulce.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if Juno's still around.
Um,
Did you leave, Juno?
I think they said something about just watching them.
Oh,
TV.
okay.
Apparently, we're on the TV there.
Oh, nice.
Wow, my head must be really big.
What TV? I mean,
Is it a 75-inch wall mount?
woo. Yeah.
They're lifelike.
They almost look real.
You can always reach out and touch them. Wow.
All right. So, well, there you go. I mean, Dulce is no shortage of weirdness.
Yeah, no
but
joke there.
that's crazy. Huh. What do you think? Do you think black-eyed kids are maybe extraterrestrial, Don?
I think they're missing, like, just like a little hole in their forehead.
Well, they might not be as evil as people think.
Well, that might be true, but
They might just be visiting like the cosmic 7-Eleven that we are.
yeah, right.
I mean, it seems like people are stopping by all the time, Don.
Yeah, how can somebody commit suicide with their own catheter with a plastic bag over their head?
Huh?
It's Phil Schneider.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, suicide. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
The Arkansas.
Next one of black-eyed kids about 4 or 5 years ago. I was walking down a bike path in the back of my house in Fairfax County, Virginia, with my stepdaughter, and when I saw two boys leaning against their bikes up ahead. I didn't really think much about it since it is a bike path, until one of the kids raised his head up and looked at me straight in the eye. And that's when fear struck me so hard. I was stopped dead in my tracks. His eyes were black and hollow, like he didn't have a soul. It was like looking at pure evil. And at least that's the way I described it when I recounted the incident later that evening to my husband and my other daughter. I immediately led my stepdaughter off the path, cut through someone's yard, and walked out to the street. I didn't know what I encountered at the time, but now I'm quite sure it was a black-eyed children.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are, but I know they are dangerous. It was so weird. I thought that my stepdaughter would also be aware of what I perceived to be impending danger, but she was completely oblivious, thank God. Even when I led her off the path and into the street, I somehow knew I had to get out of there now. Surprisingly, they appeared normal in every other aspect, except for the eyes, of course. And a vague awareness that they didn't quite fit into the environment. I only saw the eyes of one of them because the other kid had his back to me. He looked to be around 13 or 14, flannel shirt and jeans, with a swarthy complexion. What is swarthy?
Healthy?
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing on that one.
All right. Now that I have been reading about these encounters, it piques my curiosity. But I wouldn't want to run into them again. Yeah, no doubt. That's the other thing. They don't seem to make repeat visits very often.
Swarthy, having a dark complexion.
Oh, okay, swarthy.
Okay, so yeah, no, I was totally wrong. There you go.
Okay.
I'm not exactly, the wordsmith.
Well, I mean, you know more words than I do. You've taught me several through the years. So I just thought swarthy because I was thinking, well, you usually think of like pale or this
Right.
pallid
Yeah.
look to them, but swarthy, I've heard the word before.
Well, apparently it's a darker.
Darker complexion.
Yeah.
Got it. So there you go. That's some black-eyed kids stuff, Don.
There you go. Yeah, keep them over there.
Keep them over there.
Rumor is that if you talk about or watch anything about black-eyed kids, etc., they will pay you a visit.
Yeah, they've never done that for me.
Yeah, no.
No. The only thing weird that ever happened, and it was after doing a show one night, is I got a bang on my door at about 11:30 at night, and
That was probably that moose that was out there.
no, that was another one. Yeah, Don left one night to go after he was done. And he came right back in. He was like, dude, you got a big moose out there.
There's a moose standing right there.
20 feet away from my door.
Yeah,
There's this huge female moose munching on my plum tree.
Well, you know what they say, 21 feet, within that 7 yards, it's bad news.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they.
So,
but
yeah.
but then you did nut up about it, and you
I
just
did,
walked
yeah.
right
I
out.
was like, I gotta go.
I was like, I gotta get home.
Screw this. I'll have elk steak tomorrow, or moose steak tomorrow. Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, you got a big grill. You're okay.
Yeah.
But no, Don walked right past it, and it didn't bother. I mean, there's a moose that usually drags its young one along.
Right.
But I don't know if it didn't have a young one or something
Yeah,
happened.
you had that video with.
Yeah, they were in the backyard
yeah.
before. Yeah, and the moose is huge though. She's a good 7
How
feet
did
tall.
she get in the backyard?
She jumped the fence.
Jump the fence. Okay.
Yeah, it's only a 5 foot.
Well, yeah, but that's still.
Not even. It's
Fence.
like a 4 foot chain link fence.
I never asked that question. It's been years, and I've never asked that question.
Well, the first
How
time
do
when
you-
they were both back there, I left the gate open.
Oh, the gate back here.
So there was
Yeah.
all snow and stuff,
Oh,
and
back
it kind
there.
of got
Gotcha.
snowed open.
Gotcha.
But this last year, that very moose that was munching on there did jump in my backyard, but the gate was closed.
Well,
But she went right over. Boom.
wow.
So I guess they're pretty capable animals.
They
So,
are mean and cantankerous and obstinate.
Cantankerous. Dang obstinate. All right, so that was Black Eyed Kids. We got time for more. Because also from Phantoms and Monsters, we got actually 3 more. We can get through them all. But this one has to do with some big feet.
That's a good question, Rachel.
What she said.
How many people become to statistics to learn the safety distance of
For moose?
For a moose, yeah.
I don't know, but
Well, you know, being law enforcement trained, that's 7 yards, that 21 feet. It's kind of also that danger zone if you're confronting someone.
yeah, if they
so-
have like a knife or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's that danger zone. So yeah, there you go. That's how I know that.
All right, well, let's get to the next one from Phantoms and Monsters. This one's an 8 foot tall maned Bigfoot from July 7th. Encounter reported near Rockaway Beach, Missouri. Because it's not Missouri. Got to say the at the end.
Missouri.
Yeah, you talk to people from Missouri, and that's what they say. Where are you from, Missouri? It's like, where's the A? It looks like an I to me. So I don't know how they get the A sound out of the I, but
What's the name of that? Now I can't even say it. Missouri. Gosh darn it! I forgot the name of the Riviera. Apparently, the river in Missouri.
Yeah.
I don't know which river, but there's a river in Missouri that's just gorgeous to boat along and stuff.
oh,
It's in
okay.
the what is the mountains over there called?
Branson.
Well, no, Branson's.
Well, Branson's the city up
no,
in the mountains.
the mountains. What's the
Oh, I don't
mountains?
know.
It's like it's not the Adirondacks.
Is that the
Ozarks. It's the Ozarks.
Ozarks, yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Ozarks.
Yep.
But you know,
You got a purty mouth. All right. Not that I think
why?
that's...
Thank you.
Well, you know, just someone had to say it, Don. Not that I think people from Missouri are banjo playing.
Lake of the Ozarks. That's exactly what I was trying to remember. Because have you guys seen? Oh gosh, what was the name of that show?
I don't know.
It was awesome. It had Jason Bateman, and it was awesome.
Jason Bateman?
Yeah, it was great.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, never mind. Me.
Thanks. All right. 8 foot tall Maine Bigfoot from Missouri. Let's see what's going on. A Missouri Bigfoot researcher and investigator contacted me about a sighting that was reported to him from the area around Rockaway Beach, Missouri, known as Booger Knob.
Booger knob. Booger's got knobs.
Yeah, he told them boogers to quit playing with the knobs.
Yeah, that's right. It was just called Ozarks. That's right. Yeah. It was,
Okay.
It was good stuff.
Hello, Lon. During my ongoing research into the many Bigfoot encounters that have occurred in Taney County, Missouri, over the years, I've posted a request for information on the timeline of a local Facebook group. I was seeking information on booger place names and received a message from Darla concerning Booger Knob near Rockaway Beach. Then, to my surprise, she added, I saw something a few years ago, but I couldn't really explain what it was, and my ex-husband couldn't either. It definitely wasn't any kind of animal either of us had ever seen, but when we stopped and turned around, it was gone. Just took it as something we couldn't explain and never really thought too much about it. I immediately responded with a request for information, and she soon replied, It was probably about 8 feet tall, kind of dark gray, with a little brown. It had a mane kind of like a male lion, but shorter, hair around the body and legs. Was walking upright on its back legs, but once we got close to our car, it got on all fours and took off extremely fast. We slowed down, stopped to turn around immediately, and drove back and forth a few times, just trying to see what it was, but it was completely gone or just hiding. Never saw it again. I inquired concerning when it occurred and was told probably close to 11 years ago now, about 2012, and it was right before dark. It looked like it was probably coming out of the woods towards the lake. No odd smells or sounds, but we were in a car going about 25 miles per hour around a corner. I asked the time of the year and got it was during the summer. I'd say probably July or August because we had our windows up and the air on. Her final comment on the sighting was, "I'm not saying that what I saw was Bigfoot, but I know I'm not crazy. My ex and I both saw something neither of us had ever seen before in our lives, and I can't explain it. I spent a lot of time in the woods, and that was definitely a first." Well, she now lives approximately a half mile from where the sighting took place, and I proceeded to provide her with a rundown on some of the things to listen for, especially during evening or late night. Listen for sounds such as a tree being struck loudly with a wooden club, sounds like two rocks being clacked against each other, or any animal calls you don't recognize. All of these are common signs of Bigfoot activity. So there you go. It's just a one-off report, but very cool. Yeah, you don't usually hear about the whole mane thing. Usually the reports are, it looks like it has long head hair that hangs down its back.
Right.
But an actual mane, that's kind of interesting. All right, let's go to the next one. Here we go, Don. This one's maybe not as much cryptid as it is just unusual as hell.
It's creepy.
Hospital elevator opens up into the Twilight Zone from July 13th.
Nice.
Oh, man, elevators, Don, huh?
Elevators.
Doorways to the impossible.
That's right.
A woman was staying with her in her mother's room at the hospital. At one point, she took the elevator to the floor where the snack machines are located. And that's when she experiences her own Twilight Zone moment. I received the following account. Back when my mom was in the hospital, I stayed with her for 5 days. She was on the 6th floor, whereas the food court and snack machines were in the basement floor. I live in a small town, so our hospital is the only one with 6 floors. Well, I rode up and down the elevator so much that I knew this place like the back of my hands. Anyway, one day I went down to get a drink and a Kit Kat. Everything was normal, except the Coke machine card reader didn't work. When I got off the elevator on the 6th floor, there were just empty walls. There were no nurse stations, no rooms, no painting, no furniture, nothing. I walked towards one end to see random size white buildings, and the other end to see tall skyscrapers and a shiny metal window type building. I called out over and over, but no one replied. I walked to the elevator, stop, and they were missing. And they were missing?
The elevators?
I walked to the elevator, stop, and they were missing. I took out my phone to call the hospital and tell them I was lost, but my phone didn't have any bars, and this was years ago with flip phones. I kept looking at the windows, hoping to find some sort of person to alert, but no one was down there. No cars for miles. After realizing I was literally screwed, panic attacks kicked in. I sat on the floor, staring at the wall, trying to calm myself down for a half an hour. When I woke up, the place looked the same, except for the elevators. They were back, and I sighed a sigh of relief. I got in, pushed the 5th floor of the maternity ward, and the doors shut. When they opened, they were the basic light-colored walls, borders trimmed with cute duckies, and the sounds of people talking and babies crying. I found the fire escape and figured I'd take my chances on getting to Mom's floor. I opened the door, and I was back on the 6th floor. The real one. I walked into Mom's room, and she said, well, that was fast. I told her I must have been gone for over an hour, but she said, I'd been gone for less than 5 minutes. I looked at the TV and The Bold and the Beautiful was still on. It's a 30-minute show. I don't know what happened to me or where I was, but I still don't trust elevators.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll change it, won't it?
Yep.
Yikes. That's bizarre. So is that a gateway kind of thing? Different dimension? What do you suppose?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with dimension shifting.
That's what it sounds like, yeah. Really, really strange. How in the hell do you end up in the wrong freaking city?
Right.
You take an elevator, the doors disappear, and you're in a weird city you don't recognize with nondescript white buildings and skyscrapers when you're in a small town. I don't know, dude. Do you think there's wormholes everywhere, that kind of thing?
You know, I believe it's absolutely possible. I mean, you know, you think about quantum mechanics and entanglement and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, why wouldn't there be room for, you know, shortcuts?
Sure.
So
Could be little shortcuts to the Twilight Zone. Yeah, Rod Serling would be thrilled, wouldn't he? I'm just looking at this one. I guess we could read this one, and that'll about do it for tonight. So here's one having to do with some dogman type of activity. Well, they don't say dogman, but they do say werewolf like cryptid. So let's check out this one from phantomsandmonsters.com. Beach campsite trashed by werewolf like cryptid on...
Have no idea.
Assateague. I don't know. I'm just taking a stab at it here. Assateague Island, Maryland. Okay. Well, let's see what's going on here.
We can just call it AI.
Okay, you get a rim shot on that one. All right, let's check it out. A college girl and a roommate decided to take a break and go camping at Assateague Island in Maryland. After a long hike, they returned to find their campsite trashed and a terrifying cryptid canine. I received the following account. In 2009, I attended college at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I always felt overwhelmed with studying and assignments and spent most of my time inside. My roommate and I decided to abandon our school work one weekend and have an adventure. We agreed to go to Assateague Island as it's a barrier island and a refuge for wildlife. I was most excited to check out the feral ponies I had heard about. There do not seem to be many places where you can see wild horses anymore. So we decided to camp even though it was the off season and chilly. At least there were no crowds. We borrowed a bunch of gear from our hardcore camping friend and headed out. We stopped at the visitor center and the rangers told us where we would likely see the horses. They told us to make sure we put away all our food items whenever we were away from the campsite. We showed them the bear-proof cooler we had borrowed, and they said that was fine. We set up our camping spot and went to the recommended trail, and when we were out there, we caught sight of horses off in the distance. They told us to stay at least 40 feet away, and we were happy to get a distant view of the horses across the inlet. However, we were really excited when the herd stormed through the water and toured the area where we were standing. There must have been 3 different herds while we hiked that morning. We had binoculars to spot them in the distance and were satisfied with our sightings by noon. We had a cookout and relaxed on the beach. Well, I was ready for bed early and got into my sleeping bag after sunset with my book. I must have fallen asleep immediately. The next thing I knew, I was awoken by something howling. Now, I'm familiar with coyotes and wolves, but this did not sound like that. It was higher and more shrill. It gave me goosebumps all over, and I could feel it getting closer. Well, I convinced myself it must be one of the island foxes, so I just fell asleep again. But then this horrible growl woke me up again. It was a low growl, guttural, and rumbling. I could hear something rustling outside the tent, and it was probably half an hour before the noises stopped, and I could sleep again. Well, the next day we decided to take the wildlife loop trail. It was maybe 3 miles long and gave good views of the marsh and forest. We spent a long time exploring. By that time, we decided to head back to camp, and we were both pretty tired, and it was almost sunset. We came over the crest of a dunes and could see our tent a ways away. It looked like it was fluttering in the wind more than it should be. I could tell that there was some stuff on the ground by the tent. I remember saying how weird that was. As we got closer, we could see that the tent door was hanging unzipped and flapping around. The stuff on the ground was our gear, sleeping bags, and clothes, and we thought someone robbed us. We knew we hadn't left any food unsecured, and it didn't seem like an animal's work because the zippers were just pulled down like a person would do. Inside the tent, there were muddy prints all over the ground cover and the tarp. If I didn't know better, I would have thought they were from a giant dog. Our bags had been opened and all the contents had been removed and thrown around. All the food locked inside the cooler was missing, and everything was covered in sand and mud. We were totally astonished. And then I noticed that growl I heard the night before. I was instantly terrified. I can't tell you how primal it sounds. My roommate and I rushed out and heard it coming towards us as it came from behind the trees. We both screamed when we saw this huge werewolf-like creature. It was obviously eating something and looked like a 6 or 7 foot tall wolf that had a man's torso. It had a long snout and sharp fangs, and when it howled, it sounded like a human scream. It was facing sideways from us, so I couldn't really see its eyes. However, its back was kind of hunched over, and it had massive shoulders. It never looked at us. It finished what it ate, and then it turned away and disappeared into the trees. We were literally shaking from seeing that thing. We knew we had to leave. We pulled everything out of the tent and shook it off as best as we could. We threw everything in the trunk and just raced out of there. We stopped at the ranger station, but it was after hours and nobody was around. We didn't know what to do, and we went home. I called them the next day to describe what we had seen. I have no idea if they took me seriously or if they thought we were just seeing things. Yikes. That's creepy, Don.
That is creepy.
Right? Ay, ay, ay. It knew how to do zippers and stuff. It got into the bear-proof cooler.
Right.
It was maybe looking for love.
Apparently they're not, they're not werewolf-like cryptid proof.
No.
There you go.
That's a whole nother class of cooler, folks.
Yeah.
You got to get the cryptid proof coolers if you're going to go out there. So I'm just saying, I don't know. I would have probably left when it was sniffing around growling.
Right.
I wouldn't have waited for the next day, would you?
Pieces.
Yeah, exactly. Peace out. I'm deuces, man. See you later. But there you have it, folks. Another journey through the paranormal portal.
And you survived.
We all survived, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you had a good time. Maybe a few laughs along the way.
Yeah.
Maybe some new information, some stories you'd never heard before.
Or some bad jokes.
Always bad jokes, Don.
Thanks.
That part, it comes free. That's free of charge.
There you go.
That's like the bonus here on the portal. But that's all we got time for tonight. Anything, Don, in closing?
Just remember, thank you, Maggie. Hit it.
Aw, thank you.
Just remember.
Oh, wait, I got to do one more for Lucky Gypsy the other night.
Oh.
Mom let me know I missed one.
Oh.
Thank you, Lucky Gypsy, for the gifts the other night. Appreciate it.
So just don't forget, you can always go to the Teespring store and buy stuff. Like this bucket hat I've got on. It's actually pretty nice.
Get a bucket to carry your head in.
Well, every brain needs a bucket. But if you turn it around, you flip it over, you go this way. See, this is Paranormal Portal here. See that? See? Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Don's representing, folks.
Because, I got skills.
He's got skills to pay the bills.
No, they don't pay nothing. But anyhow, there you go.
There you have it, folks. But anyway, just thank you so much for being here.
Go get your shizzle.
Thank you for spreading the word about the shows. Thank you for sharing it, those of you that do. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you to all of our members. You guys are amazing. And thank you to our mods. And
yes.
And our admins over on Discord. You guys are awesome. And thank you all for just being part of the love that we have for each other.
Oh, my.
Well, I love everybody, Don.
Our family.
All right, so without further ado, and we'll let Don sing us out.
How about some I don't?
I don't?
I don't. That would be Don singing us out. I don't.
Oh, okay.
All
Gotcha.
right, but anyhow.
That's Don's stage name. I don't, not
don't.
Adele.
Nope.
It's a don't. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you on Friday night right here on the portal. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.
Good night. And that was Sister Sledge, by the way.
Sure was.
Yeah.
All right.